There are episodes of the Amazing World of Gumball that are funny, absurd, and filled with wild antics. But then there are episodes like The Choices. Episodes that break you down emotionally, make you reflect on life, and leave you sitting there in a stunned silence. This episode didn't just make me emotional, it made me cry. And not just a single tear, but full-on sobbing. The Choices is one of the most powerful episodes of the Amazing World of Gumball because it explores the themes of love, fate, and life-altering decisions that shape who we are. It focuses on Nicole Watterson, a character who we usually see as a strict, no-nonsense mother, and humanizes her in a way that makes her journey feel deeply relatable. This episode made me realize how important it is to appreciate the life you have, even if it's not perfect. Today, I want to break down what makes The Choices such an unforgettable, deeply moving episode. From the start of the episode, it's clear that Nicole is feeling overwhelmed by the chaos of her life. With the usual madness of the Watterson household spiraling around her, she begins to question how she got to this point. She reflects on her past and ultimately comes to the conclusion. It all started when she met Richard. What follows is a heartbreaking look into her childhood, one that reveals so much about why she is the way she is. In this flashback, we see young Nicole in the car with her parents on the way to a competition, something that is clearly a major milestone in her life. However, instead of being filled with excitement, the car ride is tense. Her mother berates her for not being perfect, despite the fact that Nicole is excelling. The only F on her report card stands for female, and even that isn't enough to satisfy her mother's impossible expectations. This one moment alone tells us everything we need to know about why Nicole has such an intense obsession with perfectionism. She was raised to believe that second place is just another way of saying first place for losers. Her father, on the other hand, lashes out in anger while stuck in traffic, showing us exactly where Nicole gets her temper. The pressure, the expectations, the need to be the best, it all stems from how she was raised. Not wanting to be late, Nicole takes matters into her own hands and runs to the competition. But in doing so, she gets lost, and that's when she meets Richard. This is the moment that sets her life on a completely different course. And as she reflects on it, she wonders, what if I hadn't gotten lost? What if I made it to my competition? Her mind crafts an alternative reality where she wins first place, graduates at the top of her class, becomes a successful businesswoman, and even runs for president. But despite all of these achievements, she realizes that something is still missing. Even in this seemingly perfect life, she isn't happy. Still searching for answers, Nicole considers what her life could have been if she ended up with someone else. She imagines a life with Banana Bob, but that leads to frustration and regret. She even envisions a life with Harold, but that's even worse. He belittles her and makes her feel insecure, and eventually drives her to change herself entirely through plastic surgery just to meet his impossible standards. Each scenario is more miserable than the last, reinforcing the idea that fate has already made its decision for her. No matter how many different paths she imagines, all roads lead her back to Richard. Meeting him wasn't just a random accident, it was meant to be. Richard, despite being goofy and unserious, was the first person to show her a different way of living. Where Nicole had always been trapped in a world of rigid expectations and overwhelming pressure, Richard showed her how to just let go. He made her laugh. He gave her the best advice, which was just to live life. And that, more than anything, is what she needed to hear. Their love story is far from traditional. It wasn't easy. In fact, both of their parents kicked them out, forcing them to start living together on their own. In a heartbreaking moment, Nicole's mother even cries, but not because she's happy for her daughter. It's a moment of realization, of regret, a knowing that she might have lost Nicole forever because she failed to show her love when it mattered most. Nicole and Richard's life together begins with struggle, but they build something beautiful out of it. They get married, they have Gumball, and they make a home together. It isn't perfect, but it's theirs, and that's all that matters. One of the most painful moments of this episode is Nicole and Richard's wedding. The chairs reserved for Nicole's parents remain empty. They never came. Even at one of the most important moments of her life, they still refuse to support her. And that kind of rejection is devastating. But what makes this moment so beautiful is that even in that pain, Nicole isn't alone. She has Richard. She has Gumball. She has the family she created. This episode is masterfully executed. The storytelling, the emotional weight of each scene, and the way that it recontextualizes Nicole and Richard's relationship. It's all done so beautifully. Nicole and Richard are the definition of perfectly imperfect. From the outside looking in, their life seems chaotic, dysfunctional, and even messy. But when you look deeper, you realize that it works. Their love, despite all odds, has stood the test of time. And sometimes that's what truly matters. Not having a picture-perfect life, but having a life filled with love, laughter, and the people who make it worth living. The message that I took away from this episode is that life can be changed with just one decision. One wrong turn that leads you somewhere unexpected. And sometimes those unexpected turns are the best things that can ever happen to us. The Choices is hands down one of the best episodes of The Amazing World of Gumball. It made me cry, it made me reflect, and it made me appreciate the power of fate and love. Nicole's journey is so deeply moving because it reminds us that perfection isn't what makes life so beautiful. It's the unexpected, the unplanned, the messy moments that shapes us into who we are. Nicole Watterson may not have had the life that she envisioned for herself, but she had something greater, a life filled with love. And at the end of the day, isn't that what really matters? I would like to know your thoughts on this episode of The Amazing World of Gumball. Was it as impactful to you as it was to me? Comment your thoughts down below and subscribe for more content like this.